This is video number 9 in a series of videos where we're making a tank battle game in Unity for Android mobile devices. In this video we're going to set up the cameras. In particular, we're going to have a camera for the driver, a camera for the commander, and a camera for the gunner, okay, and also a camera which enables the player to play in third person, okay, by following the tank around. Okay, good. So let's make a start. First thing we're going to do is need a button on the screen. So we right click on our canvas, UI, and button, okay, and rename this button cameras, and the text of the button, call it text cameras, and the text inside there is camera, okay, and we can set that to overflow. Okay, good. So this button, we're going to reset this, move it to the top right corner, so Shift Alt top right, okay, and we can change the source image here, and if you want to you can turn off the color tint when people press the button, okay, and we're going to be using the on click, so we'll just put a plus sign there, and okay, and we'll get the script into that later on. Good. So here's our button, and we next need to have some cameras, okay, so get the tank, okay, and what we're going to do is put the cameras in a camera holder. Alright, just to make it easier for us to see where these cameras are, and we can move them around more easily. Okay, so right click on the tank, create a cube, and call it camera holder driver. Okay, and make this 0.1. Okay, now we need to inside there put a camera, so right click and put the camera, and you can call this one camera driver, and let's have a look at this here. Now every camera comes with an audio listener, so we only want one of those in the scene, so what we'll do is we'll remove that, and we'll add our audio listener to the tank. Okay, so audio listener on the tank. Okay, back now to the camera driver. Okay, here we're not going to be using the flare layer, so we can remove that. MSAA and HDR. Okay, nor the skybox, that's solid color, and make the clip-in planes to as small as they can be, which is 0.01. Good. So let's position this where we need it to be. So okay, so let's have a look at this. Okay, so it should go back a little bit, something like that. Maybe 1.65 and 2.2. Yep, that's fine. And we'll flip that camera around 180, and then we have a nice view from the driver's position. Okay, so just check everything's fine. Yep, good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this this holder a color, okay, and so as we can see it more easily. So let's just make yourself a material, and here, and I've put it mobile vertex lit. We're not going to see this because we're going to turn it off later on, but just get into the habit of using the mobile shaders. So that's mobile. I've chosen vertex lit here. You can choose another one if you wish. Okay, and on this holder we will put this color. Okay, so we can see now more easily where it is. Okay, good. Now this camera is going to move or stay with the hull. Okay, so that's fine where it is there. Now if we right click on this camera, duplicate, okay, now this one is going to be the camera holder for the commander. So here, rename commander. Okay, and this one is going to be attached to the turret. Okay, so here put it onto the turret. Okay, and again we'll move this around to the position that we want. So right here, so it's going to be 0.5. Y. Let's have a look where this is at the moment. .5. Okay, this is attached to the turret, which is correct. I'll just tidy this up a little bit. 0.3. Yep. Have to take some time here, but you need to get it right. So possibly back a little bit there. Let's go for 0.8. Okay, and maybe a little bit higher there. We'll go for 1.5. Okay, and again tidy up. 0.1, 0.1, and 0.1. Okay, so now we've got two cameras. Okay, the next one we're going to need is one for the gunner. Okay, so we're going to duplicate, and we're going to put this on the barrel. So drag that onto the barrel because it's going to move up and down with the barrel. Okay, and call this one camera holder gunner. Okay, good. So we'll just zero this out, and again 0.1. Okay, and then move this to the end of the barrel. Okay, we'll have a look where that is, so just put 0 on there for now. -6. Okay, and then we'll flip it 180. Okay, so there we got our third one, and rename these correctly. Camera gunner and camera commander. Good. So now we've got 3 cameras. Okay, one's on the turret, one's on the barrel, and one's on the hull. Okay, so we need to be able to move between these different cameras. So we'll just apply that to our prefab. Okay, and what we'll do is we need to turn off. At the moment we have the main camera of the scene here. I'm going to delete that now. Okay, just delete that. Okay, and now we can choose which cameras we want by default. Okay, so here we need to look at our camera for our driver. it has a depth of 0. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll, for the while we're developing, we can get the gunner and make that camera gunner depth of 1. Okay, and the commander depth of 2. Alright, so this camera 2, the commander camera is rendering on top of the gunner camera, which is rendering on top of the driver camera. Okay, you can leave all those at 0, but I prefer to look here from this position because I can see what's happening more easily. Okay, good. So now we need a way of changing between these cameras. All right. So we're going to need a camera manager. So we can go create, empty, and we'll call it camera position manager. Okay, and we'll just 0 this out. Okay, and on this we're going to attach a script which is going to switch between these 3 cameras. Now if you want to offer a 4th camera, alright, which is where the camera follows the tank around, okay, we can do that too. So you don't need to have that, but we'll put one in there now anyway, alright, just in case you do. So you're going to need standard assets, and you're going to need the cameras. Okay, so it's like assets, import package, and then you've got like cameras. Okay, these cameras, and you need to choose from the prefabs inside there the multi-purpose camera rig. So drag that into the scene, and what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the camera, and so as we can see what it's doing, we'll give that a depth of 3. Okay, and again we need to do a few things here. Remove the audio listener because we already have one of those attached to the tank, the flare layer because we're not using it, and the GUI layer, we can remove that. And again there, now we're going to we're not going to be using the skybox, we're going to be using a solid color, and we need the same color as we've got with the other one. Okay, I'll just find that. Okay, that's the one. And again here the clipping planes are, you can make those 0.1 if you wish. Alright, okay, if there's a problem. So here the range here, the clipping planes on the far is 5,000. You can reduce that, you know, maybe down to 1,000 or something like that. It depends on how big your terrain is. Okay, alright, good. So what we're going to do next is we're going to position this. Okay, we'll call it multi-purpose camera rig tank. Okay, and we'll make a prefab of that, put it into the prefabs folder. Okay, good, and then it keeps the original one from the standard assets. We can refer to it if there's any problems. Okay, so this multi-purpose camera rig here, the target, auto target player, no, we'll just, the target for this is going to be the tank. Okay, so let's have a look here. Auto target player, let's have a look. Chieftain tank target. For some reason that's not going in there. Hold up. Here we go. Put the chieftain tank in there. That's the target. Okay, and then we'll position our camera to the rear of the tank, maybe 10, and height of 2, and we'll rotate 180. Now this value is just for when we're looking at this, when we're not pressing play. When we press play, the camera will spin around. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that, and we're going to solve that problem. So if we press play at the moment with this camera, okay, it goes around the tank and then ends up at the front. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to solve that problem. So if we go to the pivot, okay, we can here set this one to where we want it, which is 10. Okay, so we'll zero these back out again. Okay, and we'll put the values into the pivot instead. Okay, so we've got 10, 180, and 2. Okay, and we'll see if that makes any difference. Okay, press play, and let's have a look. Okay, yeah, so that's working fine. So what we did there was, because in this here we use this here, these settings here, just to see what works, and then we apply them to the actual pivot. Alright, so maybe make this 3, okay, something like that, and hit apply. So this is going to be our fourth camera. Okay, again, it's optional, don't need it. All of these cameras are optional, you need to set them up however you want. Alright, and we'll just put that up there out of the way. Great. Just check everything's good. Yep, all good. Okay, so now we come back to our camera position manager, and we need a script. Okay, so let's have a look at in our scripts folder. We need to create a C script, okay, and call it camera position manager, and open that script. And what I've done here, there are many ways of doing this, but I've set up an easy way to switch or move between the different cameras. And because in this particular game we're going to have a couple of additional features depending on where the camera is. Okay, so I've done it in this way. Alright, so first thing I did was created here an array of cameras, okay, which is where we're going to load our cameras into, and then the gunner cam controls. Now this is another array because the gunner is going to need like a crosshair, okay, and maybe some other features like the changing the field of view, you know, this kind of thing. Alright, so there might be a number of additional features that the gunner is going to need as compared to the driver and things. So I've just made another array for all of those additional things, and I've called it gunner cam controls. Then I have a counter which is set to 0, it's an integer, and then I have public text, camera text, because I'm going to change the text on this button, okay, depending upon which camera we're using, so that the player knows which location they're in or which camera they're using. Okay, now in order to get this text here, you need to have using Unity Engine UI. Okay, now in Awake I've said here, okay, turn everything off. Right, turn all the cameras off, turn all the gunner controls off here. Okay, so I've made a function called turn everything off, and here it says, okay, for everything, for each everything in the array of cameras, turn it off. Okay, and for everything in the array of gunner cam controls, again, turn them off. Alright, so we're turning everything off, and then what we're going to do, so okay, we've turned everything off, so we're not going to have like the problem of lots of cameras rendering at the same time. Okay, we're going to say, okay, which camera do we want to start the game with? Okay, we'll start with the first one in the array of the cameras array. Okay, so we're going to say, okay, camera 0, which is the first one in the array, set that one active to true. And because the first one in the array is the driver's camera, we're going to change the text on the button, this camera text button, to say driver, so that the player knows that at the moment they're currently in the driver's position. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a public function here called choose camera, and this is what's going to be joined to this button. Okay, so here what we do is we say, okay, turn everything off. So if the player presses the button, then okay, turn everything off and add 1 to the counter. Okay, so the counter starts at 0, so first time they press it, this will equal 1. Okay, so if counter equals 1, then we've already turned off all the cameras. Okay, camera with the value 1 set true. Okay, which will be the second camera in the array, and change this text to commander, because the camera will move from the driver to the commander to the gunner. Okay, again, if the player is currently in the commander position, okay, and they press the camera button again, they will move to the gunner position, and we need to turn the gunner camera on. So again here, the counter equals 2, set this gunner camera, which is the value of 2, which is actually the third camera in the array, set that to true, and change the text on the camera to gunner. Now for each game object in the gunner cam controls array up here, because I said we're going to have a crosshair, the driver and the commander don't need to see that drop crosshair, okay, and the gunner, and anything else that we're going to give to the gunner to make it easier for to shoot the enemy. Okay, we're going to turn all of those things on, right, because the gunner is going to need them. And then the last thing we say is here, if for this one here, if counter equals 3, and the third one is going to be this multi-purpose camera rig that we've set up here. Okay, this multi-purpose camera rig tank. Okay, if that one, if the counter equals 3, turn that camera on and change the text to, I've put here TPV, which is third person view. Okay, you can call it whatever you want. Okay, I just did that. All right. And lastly, if the counter is greater than 3, because in this case we know how many cameras are in there. Right? We know how many cameras we've got. All right. If it's greater than 3, then set it to 0, and then put the first camera, which is going to be the driver's camera, back on, and change the text to driver. Good. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want to. Okay. Okay, good. And file save. Yep, that's good. And now what we're going to do is our camera position manager here. We're going to attach this script. Okay, good. And what we can do now is we can start to fill in these gaps. Okay, so it says here we need some camera text. So go to the canvas, go to the button cameras, and put the text in there. Good. Now here it says camera size. Now we've got 4 cameras. So we type 4, and we said the first camera was going to be the driver's camera. So we put the camera holder driver in there. The second one was going to be the commander's camera. Third one was going to be the gunner, and the last one is going to be the multi-purpose camera rig tank. Now it says here gunner cam controls. Alright, so here we're going to need a crosshair. So we go to our canvas tank, right click, UI image. Okay, and we can change our source image to a crosshair. Okay, and we can resize that 50. Okay, and it's not a raycast target, so we can turn that off. and we'll call this crosshair. Okay, and we can put that at the top out of the way. Great, so now we've got a crosshair, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to our camera position manager, and because this is going to be used by the gunner, we're going to put value 1 in there in that array, and we're going to add the crosshair. Good. So let's save this scene. File, save scene. Okay, and we'll see if this works. Right, press play. Okay, so looking good so far. We have here, we have the first view we've come to is the driver. Okay, here it says driver up here in the button, and yeah, clearly we're in the driver's position. We're at the front of the tank here, and you can see the barrel. All right, and yeah, if we move the barrel up and down, okay, or rotate the turret, that's fine. Okay, and you can see there the position is fine. Okay, so let's press the button, and we're going to move to the commander position. Okay, so look, what a problem now. What we need to do is we need to come back to the button, and we need to join the button to the script. So drag the camera position manager into this button here, and look for the camera position manager script, and inside there look for choose camera. Okay, again, file, save. Okay, and we'll try again. So again, press play, and okay, we start off with the driver again. That's good, all working. Yep, no problem there. And here is the driver, so let's press it now. Okay, now we've moved to the commander position. As you can see, the text on the button has changed to commander, so that's correct. And we position the commander at the top of the tank on the turret. So let's rotate the turret and see if the commander's camera moves with it. Yes, it does. Okay, and the barrel moves up and down, and the tank moves forwards and back and left and right. Okay, now the commander position's pretty good because you can take the commander position and literally see 360 degrees. All right. Now, okay, so last one inside the tank anyway is the gunner. Okay, so here's the gunner. Now the gunner's positioned at the end of the barrel, and now we can see that we've got a crosshair. Okay, and if we move the turret up or down, okay, and we can move this left and right, okay, and we can move the tank forwards and back. Alright, good. So that's working, and the last one is this one here, which I've called third person view. Okay, it's the camera rig. Okay, here if we drive forward, the camera follows it, as it should, turns left, okay, right, barrel up, rotation, good. So that's working well. Okay, and as you can see, this camera rig, okay, it's going through the floor there. That can be solved by moving the camera up a bit higher, okay, on the pivot, so we can put that there. Okay, and again, you need to sort these exact positions out for your own tank. All right, but we have here everything working fine. So driver, commander, gunner, and the multi-purpose camera rig. Okay, great. So everything's working. Thanks very much for watching the video. Hope you learned something, and please give a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video. Thank you.